Welcome back. On Friday, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced the Justice Department is stepping up efforts to crack down on leaks of classified information. Under the new measures, that the DOJ may have increased ability to subpoena journalists to reveal their sources. Yesterday, Sessions Deputy Rod Rosenstein said the DOJ was after leakers, not reporters, but went further by saying the Justice Department will go after anyone responsible for leaks. Watch.
What we need to look at in every leak referral we get, we look at the facts and circumstances. What was the potential harm caused by the leak? What were the circumstances? That's more important to us than who it is, who is the leaker. So if we identify somebody, no matter what their position is, if they violated the law and that case warrants prosecution, we'll prosecute it.
Including White House officials and members of Congress.
Including anybody who breaks the law.
So does anybody really mean anybody? There's only one man to ask. Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Napolitano. Welcome back, Judge.
Good to be with you, Kennedy. I don't know if anybody means anybody. Members of Congress can spill secrets if they do so on the floor of the House or the floor of the Senate. They can't be prosecuted. But if he's talking about an official in the government who has a national security clearance and has information that's characterized as confidential, secret, or top secret. You remember those characterizations from the failed Clinton email prosecution, and hands it over to a journalist. Let's say I have this clearance and I hand it to you, and you look at it and say, oh boy, the public has to know this.
Yeah.
This is the exact opposite of what the government's been telling us. The public has the right to know. And you come on your show and you reveal it. Can you be prosecuted? Absolutely not, and under no circumstances.
Because Jeff Sessions was implying that they can, in fact, go after journalists for the very thing that you're describing.
As long as it is material to the public interest, as long as it's about the government, and
yeah,
it's not about some personal thing involving an individual in the government, yes, they can. The question is, can they come after me? They can. The question is, can they go to you to find out who your source is, and what do they do to you when you won't tell them who your source is? That's the James Rosen issue. Our colleague James Rosen.
They start spying on you, or they throw you in jail.
Correct. He had a perfectly legitimate professional relationship with a source who told him things the government didn't want published. He went on Fox News and published it, and they went after him big time, and eventually they backed down.
Now today,
if the government does that, I don't care who the president is or who the AG is, that's wrong, it's condemnable, and we have to resist it.
All right, very good. Bill Bennett today, former Secretary of Education under Ronald Reagan, said, I disagree with the estimable Judge Napolitano. From the feeble skills I learned at Harvard Law School, the press does not have an absolute privilege. They do not have immunity.
I love Bill Bennett. He's a brilliant and wonderful person. I was deeply moved that my name came out of his mouth, but on this we disagree. Supreme Court has been very, very clear. The press is immune from publishing any secret as long as it is material to the public interest, meaning as long as it is something that the press rationally thinks the public wants to know.
Yeah, one of those cases, New York Times Co. versus Sullivan, there was a landmark Supreme Court case where they established the actual malice standard. What does that mean?
Well, that is a standard for a civil lawsuit. But the leading Supreme Court opinion is the Pentagon Papers case, which stands for the proposition that I told you. New York Times against Sullivan says if you want to sue the newspaper because you've been harmed by what it said and you're a public figure, you have to show that they published what caused you to be harmed, knowing it was false or with reckless disregard as to whether it was true.
Okay, now what about Sarah Palin? Would she have a case against the New York Times?
Sarah Palin might very well have a case against the New York Times. I think they settled it, but in the emails that I saw, there was enough doubt on the part of the publisher as to whether or not it was true, and they published it anyway. That might meet the actual malice standard because they might have been reckless in their attitude about truth.
Do we have a problem here with leakers, or are we dealing with rogue whistleblowers who are just taking improper action?
You know, I'm a little bit of the skunk at the garden party on this because some leakers do a positive good for our knowledge about what the government is doing. I'm talking about leakers like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning and even, gosh, I'm forgetting
Reality Winner?
Reality Winner. How did you know who I was talking about?
Because that's a very compelling bit of information that she released to Glenn Greenwald at the Intercept.
And when someone releases a transcript of the president's telephone call that does not contain national security secrets, it's wrong and it's frustrating and it's going to harm the presidency, but it's not a crime. The only crimes are where somebody hands out something that has been classified as confidential secret or top secret. The person who hands it out, not the person who publishes it, has committed the crime. Those people should be in Jeff Sessions' crosshairs, not the journalists to whom they communicated.
Very good, Judge. Love how you break it down and lay it down. You're the best.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.